Gaming companies go all out for this year's April Fools. Gearbox and Borderlands get a new home, and Riot lap up that sweet, sweet Saudi money. I'm Ash Dixon, and this is Jinx News. April Fools. It's a day that for most of the year we don't really care about, so when it rolls around we normally fall victim at least once, before continuing the day with an unholy amount of skepticism. For gaming companies, April Fools is the perfect opportunity to stretch those creative muscles and show that they actually have a sense of humor. So let's look at some of the highlights of this year. First up, the execs over at Rocksteady released an open letter about the Suicide Squad game, saying, "We're sincerely sorry for making this a live service game. April Fools, everyone! I know it's April 2nd, but we didn't get to make a show yesterday, and I ain't missing out on the fun." Anyway, that's enough of that. Here's the actual highlights. Pokemon decided to release a video on the Pokemon Sleep World Championships, and right off the bat, the production value for this was way higher than it had any right to be. It basically involved a group of competitors going to sleep for 8.5 hours, and it had a few genuinely funny moments. Meanwhile, Pokemon's evil twin Powwow decided to keep doing what it does best and be absolutely unhinged by releasing a trailer for a Powwow dating sim. So not only can you now slaughter, enslave, and exploit your cute little pals, you can also do whatever the hell this is. Oh, and it gets worse because the Dave the Diver devs teased the VR dating sim equally cursed.
You're making me shy looking at me like that.
Luckily, Razer announced the perfect chair for the occasion, the tentacle-ridden Razer Cthulhu. Meanwhile, some devs announced ridiculous updates that were very much real. Over in Minecraft, we got the Poisonous Potato update. Not only is it very silly, but there's literally more content here than most major updates. There's the Poisonous Potato dimension, fitted with 5 different biomes, and a whole load of Poisonous Potato mobs, weapons, and armor. Overwatch 2 released a whole arcade game mode where every single hero got a rework, such as Zenyatta, who can just now fly around. Oh, and they also all have silly googly eyes. But some of my favourite April Fool's jokes this year were just the ones that were outright stupid, such as the long mode in Among Us, where all the astronauts just have hilariously long necks. Cyberpunk 2077 got a new limited physical re-release on 97,619 floppy disks, of course. And lastly, Bandai Namco invited us to look upon this Elden Ring expansion that just keeps going, and this one is just so dumb that I actually love it. Overall, it was just a great April Fool's this year for us gamers. There were, of course, plenty more that we didn't have time to mention, but that's where you lot come in. Comment down below with your favourite April Fool's that you saw this year. Gearbox is free from the villainous clutches of Embracer. The developers behind the Borderlands series have been acquired by Take-Two for $460 million in a move that will make everyone breathe a massive sigh of relief. The deal makes sense, first of all because Embracer went on an absolute spending spree a few years ago and is now shedding assets in a desperate attempt to stop losing money. While Take-Two own 2K, who've published all of the Borderlands games. In fact, 2K used the opportunity to confirm that Borderlands 4 is currently in development. And the move means other franchises like Homeworld, Risk of Rain, Brothers in Arms, and Duke Nukem also have a new home. Gearbox Publishing will remain with Embracer, however, and will be renamed, along with some other studios like Cryptic, Lost Boys Interactive, and Captured Dimensions. The deal is expected to be finalized around June and will be welcome news to many. And while it's fair enough to celebrate Gearbox getting away from Embracer, we have to remember that Take-Two doesn't exactly have a clean sheet either. Yes, they're about to make an obscene amount of money with GTA 6, but let's be honest, the monetization in 2K sports games is outright horrific. But do you know what isn't outright horrific? Our Patreon, which we call Jinx Plus. Yep, the bar really is that low. It's a great way to support the channel, get access to all sorts of diverse and exclusive content, and there's a free tier too. Either way, we'll be chugging along here on YouTube, so a like and subscribe is always appreciated. In a move that shocks absolutely no one, Riot Games are allowing League of Legends and TFT competitions to take place at the Esports World Cup in Saudi Arabia. Yep, that Riot. The Riot that actively banned pros from participating in the Mr. Beast vs Ninja Ultimate Crown. The Riot that approved the Euro Cup that Ibai wanted to take part in and then banned. The Riot that has basically shut down any third-party events involving their IPs. Funny how they bring the hammer down on any local esports scene and then don't bat an eyelid when the Saudis come running. I wonder why that might be. Now, I should say that these aren't official events, so, Riot aren't actively involved, or so they say, but they're not exactly completely inactive either. In an email to each league, Riot have requested that they keep the first week of July free, and shock horror, that just happens to be the month in which the Esports World Cup kicks off. Hardly subtle, is it? It's going to feature the biggest prize pool in the history of esports, so you can bet your bottom real that there's a lot more money involved behind the scenes. Now, if they just came out and said, guys, the Saudis are paying us a ton of money, I think most people would at least appreciate the honesty. But instead, they said, the decision to make room in our LoL esports competitive calendar for the EWC comes after a lot of consideration about our duty to thoughtfully explore marketing and commercial opportunities for esports teams and players, as well as the impact this event can have on players in MENA. I mean, I'd argue that grassroots third-party events that Riot have previously shut down would also help explore marketing and commercial opportunities, but I guess Riot wouldn't have gotten the cut from those, so who cares about them, right? And so when Pride Month rolls around and they paint everything in rainbows, just remember where their priorities truly lie. Unfortunately, it was always pretty inevitable, wasn't it? The Football World Cup is taking place in Saudi Arabia in 10 years, and it's already hosted F1 races, big-time boxing matches, the Live Golf Tour, and of course, a WWE event. And let's not forget that the ESL and Face It were both bought by the Saudi-backed Savvy Gaming Group a couple of years ago. So maybe we shouldn't judge Riot too harshly as they're just doing what everyone else is doing. Or maybe we should, because that big old stank of hypocrisy. What do you think? Do let us know down in the comments. I'm off now to sulk, because while April Fools was fun, there's always one person that has to take things too far.